all from Texoma's most watched news. KXII 12 News starts now.
Right now at noon, Texoma saw part of a nationwide workers' rally this Labor Day. What message they want heard. Plus, a house goes up in flames in Fannin County. How it took several crews to calm the blaze. And the Labor Day gloom may be following us all week. Our First Alert weather team has your Texoma forecast. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for KXII 12 News at noon. I'm Annette Campbell. New at noon, Marshall County commissioners voted this morning to allow citizens to decide the fate of Point Vista's proposed tax increment financing proposal for construction of the Point Vista and Hard Rock Hotel development. The proposal would allow Point Vista to use new tax revenue generated by the development for infrastructure improvements in Marshall County with no increase to residents' property taxes. Point Vista filed a petition to allow voters to decide the TIF's fate in June after commissioners denied the proposal. The vote will be held November 18th. We'll have much more on this tonight at 6. A Houston man is charged with the murder of a boy who was playing a prank. Police say 42-year-old Gonzalo Leon Jr. shot and killed a child playing ding-dong ditch with his friends. Officials say it happened around 11 p.m. on Saturday night. 11-year-old Julian Guzman was shot in the back as he and other kids were running away from a house after they rang the doorbell. One neighbor said this is the first time in years that kids have tried this prank.
These are all dead-end streets, so we all pretty much know each other in this neighborhood. It's a small neighborhood, so that's what's very concerning about that, is that these groups of children were running around so late at night.
Investigators seized several rifles and handguns as evidence while executing a search warrant at the house. Oklahoma Representative Ty Burns sent a letter of resignation to Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt Saturday, just days after pleading guilty to misdemeanor domestic violence charges. Burns received a 1-year suspended sentence, and the court ordered him to partake in domestic violence intervention services. Now, quote, "It is in the best interest of the people I serve in House District 35, and most importantly, my family, to step down from my position," Burns wrote in his resignation letter. The legislator's resignation is effective October 1st. Let's take a moment to talk a little bit about our weather this week with meteorologist Briggs. He's in the First Alert Weather Center. And Brian, tell you what, it's a little cloudy out there. It's beautiful, but that doesn't mean that showers aren't on their way.
Yeah, some of them are starting to kind of pop up here in certain parts of Texoma. Probably won't be as widespread as yesterday, but some of us will get probably a healthy little downpour here or there. And that's kind of what we're already starting to show on Max radar as we head into this afternoon. Notice that they're flaring up mostly into southern Oklahoma. Very, very spotty, at least for the moment here. So we will have those showers at least for today, but we're warming up and drying out as we head into the rest of the work week. Heading into this weekend, though, we need to be watching because we actually do have some First Alert weather days to talk about, primarily though at the start of next week, all thanks to our next cold front that will bring us weekend storms and also another round of some cooler temperatures. Still kind of ironing out some of those details, but we'll have the latest thinking on what you need to know heading into that time frame and kind of the more full forecast here in just a little bit. Till then, back to you, Annette.
Thanks, Brian. In Durant, a Labor Day rally brought a group of people to the historic town square. KXII 12's Mia Medin has more on what the rally was for.
Monday morning, people gathered for the nationwide Workers Over Billionaires rally in Durant.
We also feel that billionaires should not be running this country. This is we the people. And we are experiencing a time that's unprecedented.
Participants held signs and call action to workplace and economic issues in front of the historic town center.
You know, there may not be a lot of us out here. However, I think it's important for there to at least be some people standing up for what we believe in and letting those who may not have anyone in their lives who are willing to say what needs to be said about what's going on.
The rally was volunteer organized by May Day Strong, a nationwide movement that began May 1st.
We invite everybody, or all Americans. We all want the same things. We want school for our kids, a living wage for our workers, immigrants who are hardworking and loyal and tax paying to get to stay here.
Durant police were present at the rally.
The police are here on our invitation. I call them every time we have a rally, and I make sure that they are here to keep an eye on any shenanigans. We've been able to keep it peaceful on all the rallies we've had so far.
Well, I would say this rally was quite peaceful. We've, of course, had a few people drive by and give us scowls and maybe a dirty gesture, but we've had a lot of people honk and root for us.
Durant police told me in a statement they were prepared, worked with partners, and remain committed to protecting rights, and thanked everyone for their cooperation. In Durant, Mia Medine, KXII 12.
A massive house fire in Fannin County last night required the help of many local responders. Photos from the Telephone Volunteer Fire Department shows Honey Grove and Ravenna Fire Departments helping extinguish the flames of the fully engulfed building. No injuries have been reported. A truck drove through Casey's convenience store yesterday in Sherman. Take a look. Emergency responders and officers were on the scene near North Highway 75, clearing debris and assisting in removing the truck from inside the store. Tishomingo's very first Pride event, which takes place Saturday, is being threatened by non-supporters. KXII 12's Marisa Sisk shows us how the organizers are facing the challenge head-on.
Rural Oklahoma Pride, a community organization created to make LGBTQ+ members in small-town Oklahoma feel accepted.
I wanted to express a change in the rural areas for the 2S LGBTQIA+ community.
They've brought numerous rural towns their first Pride events, and this week, Tishomingo will have theirs.
We're completely excited about this event.
But progress comes with challenges. Founders Jacob and Ryan said they've seen posts, flyers, and even threats surrounding the upcoming event. They say there have been attempts to create confusion and discourage participation by others, recreating their flyers with events scheduled the same time as theirs.
I grew up in a very religious home, so to see people want to exploit Christianity or their religious beliefs to knock down a Pride event, to me, it's just distasteful.
The organizations even had a parent express concerns after they saw threats of a drive-by shooting, but they say that even these threats won't stop them from having the event.
If we don't stay visible and vigilant, then that hate mongering and that discrimination will only grow.
In fact, they say they're not fearful.
We're not afraid anymore. At this point, we want people to know and to be encouraged to step out of that comfort zone. Be ready to protect those in your community, because why should we have to go back into hiding?
The founders of Rural Oklahoma Pride says tribal and local law enforcement have been made aware of the event. Tishomingo's first Pride will be held Saturday at Pennington Park. In Tishomingo, Marisa Sisk, KXII 12.
Several new laws went into effect across Texas yesterday. These include a number of education bills, including Senate Bills 10, 12, and 13. Senate Bill 10 would require every public elementary and secondary school in the state to display the 10 Commandments in all classrooms during the school year. Senate Bill 12 is the Parents' Bill of Rights and rules out a number of practices such as DEI hiring, required sex education, enforcing biological sex in sports, and more. Finally, Senate Bill 13 would require schools to create parent advisory councils for their libraries to vote what books children get to read on campus. Now, additionally, legislature of other topics are now in effect, such as Senate Bill 33, which would prevent state government entities from supporting abortions. Congress returns from recess today with the full agenda from averting a government shutdown to demanding answers from Health and Human Service Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. about the CDC shakeup. Natalie Brand has a preview of what to expect this week and beyond.
Lawmakers back from summer recess already face a September 30th funding deadline to avoid a government shutdown. Democratic leaders are calling for a bipartisan meeting and accuse Republicans of threatening to go at it alone.
Under the Senate filibuster rules, Democratic votes are going to have to be at the table, but we have to get spending under control here in Washington to get this country back on track.
There is a bipartisan push for more information and transparency around convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell. Today, the House Oversight Committee is scheduled to meet privately with survivors. And Wednesday, Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie and California's Ro Khanna will hold a news conference with victims as they push for a bill requiring the Justice Department to release all documents related to the case.
They will be telling their story, and they will be saying clearly to the American public that they want the release of the Epstein files for full closure on this matter.
Following the Trump administration's shakeup at the CDC and firing of Director Susan Monteraz, there are also calls from both Republicans and Democrats for oversight and answers.
A New York Times op-ed from 9 former CDC directors and acting directors accused Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of endangering public health, pointing to recent cuts at the agency and changes to vaccine policy.
The concerns that they outline are really about politics and ideology taking precedence over public health and science.
Secretary Kennedy will face questions on Thursday, testifying before a Senate committee, his first appearance on the Hill since the agency's overhaul. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Still ahead on KXII 12 News at noon, reality TV star and Oklahoma cowboy takes a scary spill over the weekend. The video now viral online. Coming up. Welcome back to KXII 12 News at noon. The Chickasaw Nation has announced its annual meeting and festival for 2025. It will take place starting September 26th and will end on October 4th. It will include several cultural, heritage, and traditional events and will feature a State of the Nation address speech from the Chickasaw Nation's Governor Billy Joe Annette. It will all take place at the Capitol in Tishomingo. The Choctaw Nation has announced the winners for the annual Labor Day stickball tournament. The women's bracket winners was Team Rouge, and the men's stickball bracket was won by Team Noi Shine. Now, a few other teams teed off in the softball competition, with the women's Texoma Indians team clinching the win, and Team Sixers won out for the men's bracket. Well, Taylor Williams is an Oklahoma cowboy known to fans of the reality series Love Island, but now he's making news for a different reason. As Kyra O'Connor reports, he took a scary fall at a rodeo.
It was like really quiet. Everybody said, oh, like all at the same time, just that initial reaction, because he just really fell hard, and we seen the horse roll on top of him.
A hard fall brought this Westworld arena to silence after a rider was thrown from his horse during the Arizona Invitational Black Rodeo last Friday. The rider, Taylor Williams, a cowboy from Oklahoma and known for his time on Love Island, USA, was rounding the corner of the arena when his horse collided with another. Williams fell to the ground and the horse landed right on top of him. Aaron Poole, who shared this video with 12 News, says he was on the ground for several minutes as other riders attempted to help him up. He was eventually carried out of the arena on a stretcher. Another attendee then captured the moment Williams walked out of the venue wearing an arm sling alongside his Love Island partner Clark Caraway. A rodeo instructor at AZ Rodeo Ready says falls are extremely dangerous, and with proper horsemanship and communication, they can be avoided.
The lead guy was way off balance, which throws your horse off balance. Leg pressure's in the wrong spot, so he's moving hips to horses in the wrong spot. The guy that actually came off his horse was anticipating a turn that it wasn't there.
We don't have an official update on Williams' condition, but he did post on social media that he is doing well.
And we're keeping an eye to the sky this afternoon. Some of those puffy cumulus clouds turning into rain showers, but we're actually going to be turning up the heat into this week. We'll talk about it after the break.
From the KXII 12 First Alert Weather Center, here's Brian Briggs.
Good Tuesday afternoon, Texoma. Hopefully your day is going well so far. Weather-wise, not too far off from what we were dealing with yesterday. However, the one big difference is we are dealing with less in the way of showers and thunderstorms. Those skies a little bit bubbly though in this afternoon. Live look at our TMC Tower Cam sponsored by Crazy AC Guy. You can see those off towards the north. Really, most of those little downpours right now into southern Oklahoma. So you can kind of see them, especially closer to that I-35 corridor. You can see them kind of flaring up near Ada, Ardmore, and even up through the Davis area too. So definitely make sure have that umbrella raincoat on standby through the rest of this afternoon and evening, because even though they're spotty, they will contain probably some brief heavy rain at times. We are notably warmer too than yesterday. The high of 84. Currently the temperature is 84. We have a little bit of a northwest breeze today, so that is going to help us, at least kind of. But we've been under this northerly flow through the second half of August and the first half of September, at least so far, and that will help us down the line, at least to see some more of those cooler temperatures return. But in the meantime, the only cooling relief that we'll get really from here on out will be through the rest of this afternoon and the evening. Temperatures heading into the overnight hours, dipping into the 70s here. But notice, as you can see, over the next couple, we do have those temperatures in the low 80s, but those feels like in the low 90s because of the high humidity. So that's definitely going to make for not sweater weather today. That may actually return by the time we get to this weekend. Now, in terms of the rain chances from here on out, could see some of those continue to flare up into southern Oklahoma here and even move their way into North Texas as we get into this afternoon. Again, the worst hazards on this would be a heavy downpour and maybe some occasional rumbles of thunder, and then we're dry, at least as we go through the next couple days. And really the hot temperatures will be kind of the main story here ahead of what will eventually be our next cold front. Look at Thursday. It's been a while since we've seen those temperatures in the mid 90s, but they could be returning. But then as quickly as they come in, notice how we go from 95 on Thursday to 79 degrees on Saturday. So got the Lake Texoma stats back. Here are your Lake Texoma stats as we head into this afternoon, and also a look at your fishing game forecast for your Tuesday, sponsored by Blackbeard Marine. Good luck if you're going to be heading out that way. So I know we've been showing this guy a lot, but the thing is, it paints a pretty good picture for next week, at least a summary. Lots of blue showing up on this big map here, and we are still kind of in the deeper blues. So we're expecting some below average temperatures within the next 6 to 10 days, which would mean roughly into mid-September, at least early to mid-September. We also have plenty of green showing up here too on the map. So Texoma's kind of in that sweet spot where we will be seeing at least the possibility of showers and thunderstorms and also the possibility of cooler temperatures. So there's some good news there. All boils down to a few first alert weather days as we head into next week. Notice that right now we have that for Sunday and Monday, as showers and thunderstorms will be abundant then. They're going to be mainly for the threat of some flooding rains. Could be seeing maybe a quick 2 to 3 inches in some spots, maybe some locally higher amounts. Severe weather right now appears to be on the lower end of the spectrum, but we'll obviously keep you updated on that. Some storms, though, could be leading up to that for your Saturday. And then there it is, a hot and dry start to your weekend. We will have that front coming through, but it won't be nice like it was last Friday for Friday Night Lights. I mean, it'll still be okay, but you're probably going to have to pack some water, make sure you stay cool, because it's still going to be on the hotter side of things. So there is that. The tug-of-war of seasons continues here on the 7-day forecast. And of course, as we get closer to this event, we will certainly keep you updated. But again, 2 first alert weather days on the way. Be sure you're staying updated with the latest. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have more KXII 12 news at noon on the way.
Herbal Essences is a force of nature.
Welcome back. If you have trouble falling asleep, you're not alone. A new survey looks at what people worry about while they toss and turn. CBS News national reporter Karen Hua has tips from a sleep specialist on how to get a good night's rest.
Diana Garcia gets about 5 hours of sleep a night. With 4 kids, the main worry that keeps her up, money.
Things for school, education, health, food, everything is so expensive.
Many Americans share the same concerns. Finances, work, and job security are 3 of the top stresses at bedtime, according to a new survey from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. Dr. Andrew Spector is a sleep medicine physician at Duke.
The oldest group surveyed, which was 65 plus, had the lowest rates of all of the worries. And I think part of that is financial security, less job stress.
We asked a few older folks ourselves.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how well would you say you sleep at night?
10. There's also a rise in those losing sleep over political concerns. 56% of people, up 10% from last year.
Beyond current events, the number 2 thing people worry about is that they themselves are not sleeping well. You will sleep eventually. So the more you stress about it, the worse it gets.
But there are a few things you can do to calm your mind and get better sleep. Exercise can boost your mood and lower your stress, but avoid vigorous activity around bedtime.
If you don't get that rest time after time after time, that's going to accumulate and cause long-term health problems.
Garcia says she finds lack of sleep can affect her memory.
I forget stuff. I constantly have to set up reminders.
To get more rest, Dr. Spector recommends unplugging at least an hour before bed and setting aside time during the day to quite literally worry, to process all the heavy things on your mind so they don't keep you up at night. Karen Hua, CBS News, Houston.
Well, it's officially dove hunting season here in Texoma. Hunters are very excited for this, but there are some important tips you need to keep in mind. Remember to be aware of your surroundings when hunting and have the proper license on you at all times. We spoke with the Texas game warden on what the best places to hunt dove in Texoma are.
Corn crops, milo fields, volunteer sunflower fields. Majority of the dove are basically in crops or around the crops, and then they roost in trees along the crop lines.
He also says it's best to wear camo and hunting goes smoothest right before sunrise and sunset. Ardmore firefighters were out in Ardmore raising money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. They sat on busy intersections and collected money in their boots for those affected by muscular dystrophy for 2 days. Last year, they raised just under $8,500, and this year they said they were close to $10,000. The Ardmore Fire Department thanks the citizens of Ardmore for helping them beat last year's goal. They said it couldn't have been done without you and that they appreciate your support for this good cause.
And we are tracking a few little showers out there this afternoon. No big deal, though, just some heavy downpours and maybe a lightning strike or two. But all in all, not too bad. Now, we do heat up as we head into the next couple days. Those temperatures rising into the 90s by Thursday. Then it turns unsettled into next week. We have a cold front coming in on that Friday time frame, and that'll cool us off a little bit Saturday, maybe some non-severe storms then. Maybe some strong storms Sunday and Monday. We have 2 first alert weather days that we need to keep tabs on, mainly for the threat of some flooding. So we will definitely keep you updated on that.
We've had our fair share of rain the last week.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Brian. Thanks for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.